Today we're going to be showing you some new innovations that have recently become available or will be available soon. Just a quick note to base any purchasing decisions on what is currently available in the market today. But now that we've got that covered, just want to give a huge thank you to all of you who are in person with us in San Francisco. And thank you to everyone who's tuning in online. Our product and engineering teams have been working so hard over the past weeks and months to get these features out for you. So we're really excited to show them off. All right. My name is Madeline Dodge. I am a product marketing manager on the Agentforce team. I've been at Salesforce for a couple years now, but I have been heads down on Agentforce Grid for the past 9 months, and we just launched it last week. So I'll be showing that to you today. And as we go through each of the chapters, I'll let the speakers introduce themselves. All right, so breaking it down, as I said, I'll be covering Agentforce Grid today. I'll show you a quick demo, and then I'll pass it over to Gary to talk through multi-agent orchestration. And then Sharda will cover Agentforce Builder and Script. And then Brett will close us out with voice and channels, as well as some additional innovations. All right, so we're all here today for Agentforce and AI. And it's been such an exciting time in tech with these LLM models that can make you so productive. I know being in marketing, it has helped me so much. But what a lot of companies don't realize is that just plugging in an LLM to your business operations isn't gonna cut it. So LLMs are not deterministic, which means they can't take reason and take action for you. And they also hallucinate, so they're not super reliable. So that is why Salesforce has the platform and architecture behind these LLMs to make you an agentic enterprise. So I know we walked through this slide in the keynote earlier today, but I'll just walk through it really quickly. So this is our 4 systems at Salesforce. So on the bottom here, the system of context, that is all of your customer data, all of your business data, all in one place in Data 360. And then on top of that, we have the system of work. So those are all of your apps for sales, service, whatever industry you're in. So that's where you get all of that specialized work done. And then on top of that, what we're going to be talking about today is the system of agency. So that's Agentforce with our standalone products, as well as just giving you AI capabilities to all of those apps and data. And then on top of all of that is the system of engagement, which is Slack. So it sits on top of your data, it sits on top of your apps, all of your AI capabilities, and brings it up to the surface so you can communicate with your customers and coworkers. All right, so now jumping into Agentforce Grid, my favorite product. Here are a few problems you might be running into when you're starting to build these multi-step AI workflows. So I'll give you an example. If you're trying to write a personalized email to 10 prospects, you might be exporting a CSV of those people and then plugging it into an AI tool. So those tools are disconnected from your data. They don't have every conversation you've had with that person, what products they're using, what they've said no to in the past. So you're missing all of that rich context. Or it's hard to scale. So an LLM might be helpful for writing 10 emails, but if you wanted to write 1,000, it would be super time consuming and manual. Or lastly, if you're building these multi-step workflows where you're pulling data from Snowflake, you're using Claude to write a great prompt, you're running it through Python, if the output isn't exactly what you were expecting, you don't know where in that process something went wrong, and you have to basically start over. So that's exactly why we built Agentforce Grid. So it's a new app on the Agentforce platform. So if you're already an Agentforce customer, this isn't an additional SKU that you need to purchase. It comes with it. You just need to turn it on, and it consumes Flex credits. But what it is, it's a spreadsheet-like interface. So it's super intuitive, where it's native to your Salesforce and Data 360 data. So you can just pull in any data, and you can chain prompts and agents together and then take action. So let's see how this works. All right, so if you're in your org, all you need to do is search for Grid in the app launcher, and it'll pull up the homepage where you can see any grids that you've already created, or we're going to start by creating a new one, and we'll name it TDX. And it's going to prompt you to pull in data as the first step. So we have our Salesforce data, Data 360. I'm going to start by pulling in some accounts. And I'm going to limit it to 25 at a time, even though you can pull in up to 1,000. It's just for the sake of being quick here. And we have all of that metadata, so if you want to pop in any other fields as we go, you can. But now I'm bringing in 25 accounts. They'll populate in the first column. And then the second column is where the magic happens, where you can start chaining things together. So you can bring in prompts, agents, you can just call an LLM. And so I'm going to bring in this account summary prompt template that I built in Prompt Builder, and I'm going to feed column 1 into that prompt and then run it against those 25 accounts all at one time. So now this is generating super quickly. You can also use our native evaluations to test those summaries. You can take action on them, but as they start to populate, you click into it, you can review it, and we have full visibility with session tracing here, if you want to go into that. But now, we don't want these summaries to stay in Grid. We want them to go back into Salesforce so that our sales teams can reference them in their next calls. So I'm going to add a column where we're updating the records in Salesforce, and I'm going to write the text from column 2 onto the summary field in Salesforce. And so we just run that, and now in just a few seconds, all of those summaries in column 2 are now on those accounts in Salesforce. So super simple use case, but here's some more complex ones where we have a bunch of different columns that you can compound with each other. Here's an RFP analysis where you can use it to rank which ones you should prioritize, account status updates, or you can even just do a web search. So highly recommend, if you're an Agentforce customer, turn it on, start playing around with it, and come up with some awesome use cases. But just to recap what we saw, so you'll start by bringing in data from your CRM or Data 360. You can run AI at scale across 100 or 1,000 rows at one time. If the output isn't exactly what you wanted, you can tweak that prompt in line without having to go back to Prompt Builder or anything like that. And there's full visibility with session tracing. You can chain prompts and agents together. So in this specific example, we're bringing in a list of opportunities. We're generating a summary of those. We are feeding that summary from column 2 into a retargeting agent. The retargeting agent is drafting an email. And then the best part is that you don't need to go and copy and paste all of these emails now. You can actually take action. So we have like 127 invocable actions. You can send them to Slack if you want your sales people to send them, but you can actually take action directly from Grid without having to leave the surface. So super excited. Once you start using it and building these great use cases, reach out to me. I'd love to hear about them. But with that, I'm going to pass it over to Gary to talk about multi-agent orchestration.
All right. Thank you, Madeline. Super exciting updates with Agentforce Grid. My name is Gary Lehrhaupt. I am a VP of product here within Agentforce. I lead our multi-agent orchestration effort. And the last year has been really exciting for Agentforce. We have really seen, over the course of the last year, teams are really getting that first agent into production grade, really getting that working. And now we've turned the corner where we're starting to see our customers with multiple production grade agents, live and in production, working really well. And this is amazing for us, but the ultimate thing that we need to be thinking about is how do we go from multiple agents to great customer experiences? And ultimately, you want to have this unified customer experience. Whether it's one agent, multiple agents, you want to be able to have this unified customer experience, not sure what's going on with the screen, so that you can really hone that in. And customers go about this in a couple of different ways. They might take that single agent and think, OK, I'm going to add more capabilities to it. Rather than honing in these specific agents, I'll just add more capabilities, I'll add more instructions, I'll widen out the aperture of what it's capable of. And that's simple from the perspective of just having to manage a single agent and manage that customer experience. But the challenge then becomes that the performance degrades, right? You have too many instructions, it's hard to maintain. And from that perspective, it's a bit of an anti-pattern. You do not want to go with a monolithic agent. Instead, what you really want to do is build out specialist agents, right? Powering your line of business leaders with the workflows that they understand, the jobs to be done, really honing in the specialist agent, right? With Agentforce, we have the full agent development lifecycle. You can go from building to the test center to observability and really get those specialist agents working quite well. But then the challenge becomes, well, OK, I've got all these agents. How do I find them? Where do I find them? How do I interact with them? Who even wants to go find an agent to interact with it anyway? Really, that's not how AI works, right? We're used to just going and talking to an agent, and it's able to answer our challenges, our requests. It's able to do the job to be done that we need done. And that is exactly why we have multi-agent orchestration. So what is multi-agent orchestration? It's the idea that you can have a super agent that is one agent that can live on any of your channels. It can take in requests from your user and then ultimately bring in specialist agents. Whether those agents are in Agentforce or from a third-party vendor, they're able to delegate to those agents and ultimately create a unified team to solve complex workflows together, right? And so why does this matter? It matters because then you can have this one single super agent on any of your channels able to respond to your customers' needs, your employees' needs, whatever it might be. You're able to widen the types of capabilities that that single agent is able to bring forward. So how does multi-agent orchestration work? Okay, so you have the super agent, it's on the channel, it receives the request from the user. What does it do? It breaks down the intent, it understands what are the tasks, it does task decomposition. And then ultimately, it understands what are the specialist agents that I have access to, right? What are the capabilities of those agents? It understands that from the description, from the agent card, from the routing that you create within your agent configuration. And then it takes the request and it can delegate it to that specialist agent, right? Again, those specialist agents have been honed in, they've been built out so they're really capable of answering the request. And ultimately then, they do the work, the sub-agent, the specialist agent does the work, brings it back to the super agent, which is then able to relay the response back to the user. In that way, you end up with a widening set of capabilities, but again, with specialist agents really bringing forward that value. And that is why we're really excited today. What's new with Agentforce? Well, one of the things that's new is that multi-agent orchestration is going into open beta. Right? And so what you can see here is our builder experience, this ability to go in and choose agents from across Agentforce, eventually to find them on Agent Exchange, bring those in with this open beta. We're going to get towards GA with some extra bells and whistles as we get into the June time period. And then as well, we have today live a third-party multi-agent orchestration pilot, so you can bring in those agents from other parties. And then ultimately, again, one agent, any channel, coordinating that team of experts, and then doing it with trusted governance and observability, right? Super important that we can empower your IT admins to remain in control of what can go in and out of your enterprise footprint, and then as well, having observability, right? So that that single agent development lifecycle turns into the multi-agent development lifecycle. So you have the testing center so that you have observability. How is this being used? What's the quality? And you can iterate not just against a single agent, but against a team of experts working to service your customers, service your employees' needs. One last thing before I wrap up here on this particular section, I do want to just touch on this concept of deterministic routing with agent script. Up next we have Sharda. She's going to be talking all about agent script and how amazing it is to bring determinism with natural language. While you're hearing her talk about that, she's going to be talking about single agents and how you can really hone in the if-then-else type of statements and get that with natural language to do exactly what you need 99.9% of the time. I want you to keep in mind, agent script is a huge thing, not just for single agents, but for multi-agents, right? This idea that you can do precise agent routing, the idea that you can have curated shared context between agents, right? And so agent script ends up being a really big deal for Agentforce and the experiences you can deliver, not just on single agents, but across multi-agents. And so last slide, when it shows up here, it's really just to say that Agentforce and multi-agent orchestration, this is just wins across the board. Right? So for customers and users, the idea of this unified user experience, right? This single agent that can delegate to sub-agents in order to get relevant and accurate responses, to get faster resolutions. For business leaders and domain experts, it's about launching new capabilities faster and ultimately giving your LOB leaders, your line of business leaders, the control over those specialist agents, the workflows, the jobs to be done that they really know, honing in those specialist agents across the lifecycle so that when plugged into the super agent, again, those capabilities expand. And then for IT and operations, that idea of centralized governance, innovating fast and safely, right? Having our agent registry to keep control of what builders can build with, to having observability so that you can iterate across those experiences. Again, it's a super exciting moment for you, and we are super excited to bring this forward. With that, I'll hand it over to Sharda.
Thank you, Gary. So here, my name is Sharda. I'm in the AI product team. I've been with Salesforce for about 7 years, spanning the different products, CRM analytics, data cloud, and now I'm with Agentforce. So thank you for being here. And so I want to talk about script. So I'm really, really excited about script. And I'll start with why we went with script. So it's very easy to build an agent to demo, right? But it cannot, we are, again, as Madeline said, you're depending on the LLM. So how do we trust it? How can it be enterprise grade? So you have to have some level of control. And that's why we came up with script. So with script, or our new builder, is the unique workspace where you can actually create these agents with control with natural language, as well as procedural statements. And my favorite part of the agent builder is the tracer, where you can actually see how the reasoning engine is thinking. So when you're in the preview mode and you start testing your agent, you can see step by step every single thing that the reasoning engine did before it responded to the user. I'm going to ask my colleague here, Brett, what's your favorite part of the new agent builder?
It's got to be the canvas. I love the canvas. It's sometimes I don't remember the syntax from agent script. It's easier to do it with what you see is what you get, point and click.
Exactly. Thank you, Brett. And so what does script bring to you? So in most of the agents, and even in our old builder, every single thing, all the instructions, you would put it inside that LLM box. So it was up to the LLM to decide what to do. So you had step-by-step instructions for the LLM, but LLM can, I always joke, think of LLM as a 5-year-old. So if you give too many instructions and it's all in natural language, it's not going to follow those instructions. So that's why we came up with the new builder, as we call it, the Agentforce script, where you can have procedural language and you can combine that with LLM instructions. You can have an if statement. Within that, you can have LLM statements. And so that really helps with that determinism. And that's what we call as hybrid reasoning, where you combine procedural statements with natural language instructions. And that's, our new builder makes that possible. So as Brett said, you can move between canvas and script really easily. And just PSA, even I always start with canvas, and then I go to script because the indentation becomes a lot easier. And what powers the, can you go back? Yeah. So you'll see that in the demo now, but agent script is that unique language that we've come up with, which helps you with this hybrid determinism, and you can build these agents reliably with consistency. Now let's see it in action. So that's the Agentforce Studio, is the new builder. It's from the app launcher, you can access it. And now here you can see all your agents, and you can create your new agent with just natural language you can instruct, or we have these pre-built templates. If you pick a template, you can see all the variables that come with it. And let's take a pre-built agent here. As you can see, the anatomy of the agent, you have the details, you have the system, all of those settings you have for the agent. And you can switch between canvas and script at any time. Any change you make in the canvas shows up in script and vice versa. So that's a really cool feature. And then here you have the agent router, we call it, as a, which helps you route to the different sub-agents. You have these actions, and you have instructions. Within LLM instructions now, you can refer to the actions directly. And then with the actions, you can select the output. You can store the output in a variable. You can apply filters. You can have action chaining. All that's possible in the new builder now. And then here's where you can put in the deterministic statements of run, if then else statements. So now you can combine LLM instructions with procedural language. And then you can add connections here. So you can deploy it in chat, messaging, email. And lastly, as Gary pointed out, you can now connect it to another agent. Now, all that's possible in script. And then, like before, you can add sub-agents from pre-built sub-agents from your Agentforce assets, also actions. So you build your actions once, you can add it to any agent. And at any point in time, you have Agentforce vibes. Just ask Agentforce vibes to help you tweak the instructions, and it'll do that right here. And that's what I meant by the interaction summary. As you're testing your agent, you can see The summary, you can see every single step that the reasoning engine did before it responded to you. So here's where you can go and debug and see how you can improve your instructions. You have access to the entire prompt that is being sent to the LLM gateway, and you can then troubleshoot. And all the variable values, how it sets, all that is visible here in the tracer. You can commit your agent right here, and you can maintain versions. So you can create a new version, and you can start working on it. So you have version control right here. So really excited for script. So please use it and let us know.
Right, thank you, Sharda. My name is Brett Brzee. I was a technical architect for 10 years here at Salesforce, and now I'm part of the AI Agentforce product marketing team, along with Madeline. And so I'm here to talk to you today about voice. So it's 2026, but voice still remains an unsolved problem. Here's an example. I needed to change my reservation for my hotel here in San Francisco last week. So I did call the 800 number for my hotel. And the first thing I heard was an IVR. It said, "Thank you for calling, name of hotel. If you have a question about your reservation, press 1. If you have a stay already, press 2. If it's a new reservation, press 3. Customer service 4, billing 5. Already confused. Not really sure if I need to call customer service or existing reservation or the first reservation option. So I picked the first one. And it says, "Thank you for calling." And I'm talking to an AI-powered agent. And it says, "Well, how can I help you?" And I was like, "I need to change my reservation." It says, "Sorry, you need to contact customer service." And the next thing it says is, "Goodbye." This is not a great customer experience for me. I was very frustrated by this. And so this is something that I think we're all experiencing, and we would think this was a solved problem in 2010, right? Apparently not. What's amazing is when we bring Agentforce voice into the mix, we can have this be a solved problem. And why is that? Because when you call, the first thing that picks up is Agentforce. And Agentforce, because of the power of subagents and the router that we saw a little bit of just before with Sharda's demonstration, we can get that person to the right department or subagent right within the first conversation. And when we need to escalate to a human person, all the context that's gathered during that conversation with the Agentforce-powered voice experience is kept in context so that when that human agent is invoked, when it's escalated, they can see everything right in their console at a glance. This is the dream that I hope all of us can achieve by the end of the year. So for all of you, please strive to achieve this type of 1-800 experience because it's available now with Agentforce Voice. What's coming next, a little bit later this year, is some enhancements to our digital channel experience. So if you know WebRTC, or if you're familiar with doing voice over a mobile application or a website, or maybe voice channels within other social media applications, this is Agentforce Voice for digital channels. Why is this particularly helpful? Well, imagine you've logged into your banking application, you've already done Face ID, now you're authenticated, and you want to be able to ask questions about your checking account or your investment account. What you don't want to have to do is call the 800 number, verify again, provide a code over your text messaging, and then proceed with your question. You want to be able to press a button, and because you're already authenticated, immediately be speaking with either an AI agent or a human who can solve your problem fast by knowing exactly what you're looking at and using it to help inform the answer to your question. This is what Agentforce Voice for digital channels enables, and we're so excited to continue to roll out new enhancements to this very soon. Okay, so we have a quick demonstration. We've got several different fictional customers that we can invoke and some real ones too. So let's use Northern Trail Outfitters, TDX favorite. We're going to invoke a quick voice demo on their mobile application. You can see what this looks like live.
Welcome to Northern Trail Outfitters. What can I do for you?
I need to cancel an order.
Let's see, are we hearing audio on that? A little bit, is it
I
quiet?
can help you cancel your order, but I can also check inventory at a nearby store for immediate pickup if you'd like. Let me know how you'd like to proceed.
That's good. I don't have my order number though. Can I give you my email address?
Yes, please provide your email address and I will look up your order.
It's andrew@salesforce.com.
I have looked up your order and found order number 367998 for an all seasons rain jacket. Would you like to proceed with canceling it? Or check inventory at a nearby store for immediate pickup.
Sure. I live in Silicon Valley. Do you have any stores near there?
Yes, there is a store in Cupertino.
Actually, you know what? I'm traveling up to Crater Lake this weekend. Do you have any stores near there?
Yes, there is a store in Klamath Falls, close to Crater Lake.
Yeah, let's check the inventory for that store, and then maybe I can pick it up in that store before I go on my trip.
I will check the inventory at the Klamath Falls store for you.
So this is that context gathered all from within the in-app voice experience. And I just want you to think for a moment about how that might be constructed on the back end. Think about the different types of questions that were asked. Questions about products, inventory in specific stores, locations, deliverability. So these are all things that normally might be processed or handled by different departments, but because we can bring them all together into one agent experience, the user is able to access all of that data in one conversation. It starts to get a lot closer to what it might be like to talk to a human at the store who knows all of this because they've been there for many years. So that's Agentforce Voice and what's coming up soon and what we have available now. I do want to take a moment to bring up two more things. One is this incredible advancement from our Service Cloud colleagues. If you've ever used help.salesforce.com or a similar experience, you might be thinking, well, I have some questions on our own website. I'd like to be able to create that with Agentforce, but I'm a little worried about the implementation. What do I need to prepare for? Do I need to hire a consultant or an implementer? Do I need to take a class? Well, we've decided to streamline that very quickly. We now have an unmanaged package that we're happy to announce is available today. And with this unmanaged package, you can have your own version of a help experience up and running in just less than a day as a prototype. So you can get that installed. We have all of the UX elements. We have reusable code, including agent script. All of that is something you can do. You can implement to create a turnkey help experience yourself. And again, that's available today. We're very proud that it brings the help experience to all of you with less effort. One of my favorites, of course, that you can experience firsthand here at TDX over in the Agent Summit is Agentforce Labs. This is our new fastest way to go from agent idea to app. You can come up with an idea, share that idea with the Labs user interface at labs.agentforce.com, and in 5 minutes have that agent prototype up and running in an org with actions, instructions, and all of the routing logic ready to go. So your prototype should no longer take more than 5 minutes before you're able to start iterating on an example that you can deploy into your sandbox, test, and then ideally get into production. If you want to get hands-on with this experience and see what it looks like using your own preferred maybe vibe coding tool of choice, like Cursor, Claude, Antigravity, Windsurf, or something else, maybe Agentforce Vibes, head on over to the corner of level 2 where you can get hands-on yourself. There is so much coming. Every single one of these tiles on the slide has a booth downstairs in the campground, so we encourage you to pick your favorite, go chat with our colleagues, learn more as you have time. And now, I'm really excited that I think we have a thank you and maybe some time for follow-up. Is that right, Madeline?
Yeah. So we have, I think if this timer is right, well, yeah, I guess thanks to all of our speakers.